Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to study chapter 10 in the country of the aliens. So let's start. Young Rahul was a bookworm who loved to read books. Whenever you saw him, he was reading some book or the other. Even during the recess, he would sit in the library and read some more. One day, his uncle came to visit his family. He lived in America. He knew of Rahul's reading habits, so he had brought a lot of books for him. After dinner, Rahul went to his room and opened a book. It was a science fiction on alien space. Soon he was fully absorbed in the book. He was thrilled to read about the adventures of the hero and his close encounter with an alien from the planet Jang. Before going to bed, Rahul's mother peeped into his room. When she saw him reading, she asked him to sleep. But Rahul was so deeply lost in the book that he didn't hear her. He was still lost in the book when suddenly he heard a faint sound. He looked around, but there was nobody. Once again, he set his eyes on the book. After some time, he heard someone knocking at the door. A strange fear enveloped him. Who could it be at this hour of night? He tried to look out. Suddenly, the light in his room was gone. Power failure. He thought he searched for the candle, but nothing could be seen in the dark. बच्चों अब मैं इसकी हिंदी बताती हूँ। राहुल एक किताबी कीड़ा था। वह हमेशा किताबें पढ़ता था। एक दिन उसके अंकल जो अमेरिका में रहते थे उससे मिलने आए। वे राहुल के लिए बहुत सारे किताबें लेकर आए। वो खाने खाने के बाद राहुल ने बुक खोला। वो एक साइंस फिक बुक थी। उस बुक को पढ़ने लगा। उसमें वो बहुत मजा आने लगा उसे। वह किताब में जैसे खो गया था। सोने से पहले उसकी माँ ने उसके रूम में झांका और झांक कर देखा और बोला कि अब तुम्हें सो जाना चाहिए। लेकिन राहुल इतना खो गया था किताब में कि उसे पता ही नहीं चले कि उसकी माँ ने कहा है कि सो जाओ। वो दोबारा पढ़ने लगा तो तभी किसी ने दरवाज़ा खटखटाया। वह बहुत डर गया। उसी वक्त लाइट भी कट गई। उसने सोचा कि पावर फेल्योर है। All of a sudden, there was a strange glow in the room, and there stood a strange creature. It looked like an ape man, but the face was that of a lion. Its whole body was covered with scales. The sharp red eyes were at its head. Its hand and feet were serpentine. For a moment, Rahul stood motionless. His hands and feet were numb. Then he tried to run away, but before he could reach the door, the strange creature stretched his hand and lifted him up. Rahul tried to call his mother, but only a faint sound came out of his throat. Soon the creature put his hand on Rahul's chest and he felt as if he were going into a deep slumber. Rahul didn't recall for how long he had slept, for when he opened his eyes, he found himself lying on a strange land, rough and uneven on all sides. It was near dark all around and far in the horizon. He could see two yellow stars, one on either side as large as the of the sun was rising in the sky. He looked around. There were numerous holes around him, and below the ground he felt some movement. He could also hear some noise as if something was going on somewhere beneath the ground. Soon in the fading light, he saw many teeny creatures peeping through the holes. अचानक से कमरे में एक अजीब चीज आई। स्ट्रेंज क्रिएचर था जो बहुत से जानवरों का मिक्सचर लग रहा था। एक सेकंड के लिए राहुल के हाथ पांव ठंडे पड़ गए थे। जैसे ही भागने की कोशिश की तो उस क्रिएचर ने उसे उठा लिया। उसने अपनी माँ को आवाज़ लगाने की भी कोशिश की, लेकिन उसके गले से आवाज़ भी नहीं निकली। तभी क्रिएचर ने उसके चेस्ट पर हाथ रखा और राहुल एक गहरी नींद में चला गया। जब वो उठा तो वह एक अनजान जगह पर था। उसके आसपास बहुत सारे गड्ढे थे जिसमें से बहुत से छोटे छोटे क्रिएचर बाहर निकल रहे थे। He was worried. He tried to run away, but felt his legs were fixed on the ground and can't move. Slowly, the little creature started coming out from under the ground. Some of them climbed over his body and moved freely. The young ones were more adventurous. One of them crawled over to his face. He had a sharp edged metal like piece in his hand. He came near his eyes and tried to press it. Rahul closed his eyes in fear. He stretched his hand and tried to catch the creature. The creature got down and ran away in panic. He took out some gun-like weapon and fired. Rahul felt a sharp pain and cried at the top of his voice. The next moment he felt as if someone was shaking him vigorously. He also heard the faint voice of his mother. Rahul opened his eyes slowly. He saw his mother standing beside him and shaking his shoulder. She was calling out to him again and again. By now, his father and uncle had also rushed in. Rahul realized that it was nothing but a nightmare, and it all happened due to his late night reading habits. From that day, Rahul never read a storybook till late hours of night. बच्चों, राहुल बहुत परेशान हो गया था। उसके बॉडी पर वो जो क्रिएचर चढ़ने लगा था और राहुल भागने की कोशिश किया पर वह भाग नहीं पाया। तभी उसमें से एक क्रिएचर एक गन जैसी चीज़ निकाली और फायर कर दिया। राहुल जोर जोर से चिल्लाया क्योंकि उसे बहुत दर्द हो रहा था। अगले ही पल उसने देखा कि उसकी माँ उसे जोर जोर से हिला रही थी और वहीं पर उनके पिताजी और अंकल भी खड़े थे। राहुल को पता चला कि वह एक बुरा सपना था। उस दिन से राहुल कभी भी देर रात तक कोई स्टोरी बुक नहीं पढ़ता था। दिस इज हाउ योर चैप्टर इज फिनिश्ड।